Meet Martha, a woman who, at 65, faced a truth that many fear but few speak aloud. She had no pension, no savings, no partner, and, most heartbreakingly, no place in the life of the son she gave everything for. Living alone in a small rented apartment, Martha seemed invisible to the world, just another quiet, older woman fading into the background. Yet, behind her gentle exterior lies a story of love, loss, and unyielding strength. Studies show that over 20% of women over 65 in the U.S. live below the poverty line, often with no safety net, a reality Martha knows all too well. Her journey will stir worry for those left behind, empathy for her sacrifices, and hope as she reclaims her worth. Listen closely, because Martha's story isn't just hers. It might be yours, or someone you love. And it's a powerful reminder that it's never too late to choose yourself and inspire change. Part 1, The Loss. Martha always dreamed that old age would bring peace. Evenings on the porch with her husband, Tom, watching the Kentucky sky blush pink over the hills. She pictured Sunday dinners with her son, Jacob, maybe even grandchildren giggling in the yard someday. It was a simple dream, woven from love and hope. But life, as Martha learned, doesn't always honor the pictures we paint in our hearts. One cold morning, everything changed. Tom left before sunrise, as he always did, kissing Martha's forehead, pouring coffee into his thermos, and saying, "Don't wait up, hun." But that day, she'd give anything to have waited. Around noon, the phone rang. A foreman's heavy voice delivered the news: a scaffolding collapse at the construction site. Tom was gone before the ambulance arrived. Martha didn't cry at first. Her hands shook, but her eyes stayed dry. She hung up, turned off the bubbling beef stew on the stove, and sat at the kitchen table, staring at the floor for hours. The funeral passed in a blur, kind words, gentle hands on her shoulder. Casseroles piling up, but Martha felt like she was floating, watching someone else's life shatter. A week later, a man from the company arrived with a check for $40,000. Admitting they lacked proper insurance. "It's this or nothing," he said, avoiding her eyes. Martha's cracked hands trembled as she held that check, a sum that felt like an insult for Tom's life. She tucked it away with his wallet, glasses, and watch. Unable to speak the truth aloud, her husband's worth reduced to less than a new car. Research shows that sudden loss of a spouse increases financial strain for 60% of widows, often pushing them toward poverty. Without Tom's income, bills piled up: heating oil, groceries, taxes. Martha stopped buying meat, stretched every dollar, took on mending jobs, and sold eggs from her hens. Worry creeps in when we hear how quickly stability can vanish. And empathy grows for Martha's quiet strength amid grief. Yet, there's a spark of hope here, a reminder that even in loss, resilience can take root, urging us to support those rebuilding their lives and to advocate for better safety nets for all. Part 2, The Sacrifice. With Tom gone, Martha clung to her role as a mother, determined to give Jacob a chance at a brighter future. Jacob was always a dreamer, bursting with ambition. Even if he wasn't sure where to aim it, after high school, his test scores didn't earn scholarships, and college tuition was far out of reach. Restless and eager, he set his sights on Chicago, telling Martha over breakfast, "There's work there, Mom. Mechanic jobs. Real money." Her heart sank at the thought of him leaving their small Kentucky town. But how could she clip his wings? She nodded, smiling through her worry, and before he left, she pressed $1,000 into his hand, money she'd scraped together by skipping meals and mending neighbors' clothes. "For emergencies," she said softly. "Don't touch it unless you need to." Jacob hugged her tight, promised to call every Sunday, and headed off, full of fire and dreams. At first, he kept his word, calling weekly with stories of the city's hustle. The noise, the repair shop where he started with oil changes but hoped for more. Martha listened, her heart swelling, picturing him building a life. But then, one Sunday, his voice carried a nervous edge. "Mom, can I ask you something?" he said, explaining how rent ate up $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year, just vanishing. He'd found a small apartment to buy, a chance to invest in his future, but needed help with the down payment. "Maybe the money from Dad," he suggested, his voice soft with hope. Martha's chest tightened. That $40,000, the check from Tom's death, was her safety net, sacred, untouched for 2 years. Yet, Jacob's words stirred her. "It's for us. Mom. For you too. One day, I'll bring you here. We'll live together. You won't worry anymore." She wanted to believe him, needed to, so she said yes. The next day, she transferred every penny to his account. Jacob bought the apartment, small and bare, but his own, sending her a photo of its empty walls and a city skyline view. Martha pinned it above her sewing machine, a daily reminder of her sacrifice. She worked harder, grew more vegetables, raised extra pigs, took on more repairs, and sent him every spare dollar, even $500 in cash, one Christmas for paint or furniture. Studies show that over 50% of parents in the U.S. dip into savings or retirement funds to support adult children, often at great personal cost. Martha never asked for anything back. Seeing Jacob's fleeting joy was enough. But what she couldn't see, was the slow unraveling ahead, where her love would be taken for granted. Her story stirs worry for those who give too much, empathy for a mother's boundless heart, and hope that we can learn to balance love with self-care, inspiring us to support systems that help families thrive without sacrifice. Part 3, The Invisible Mother. Time has a quiet way of loosening even the tightest ties when effort fades. And for Martha, the distance from her son grew like dust gathering in a forgotten room. At first, Jacob's calls came weekly, then every other week, until they were sporadic, rushed, often started by Martha herself. She didn't complain, telling herself he was busy, maybe overwhelmed by city life or bills. But deep down, she felt the silence, the slow unraveling of their connection. Still, she sent care packages, cookies, wool socks, letters with $10 bills tucked inside, each with a note: "Stay warm, eat well, or love you always." Jacob rarely replied, but Martha held on to hope that he felt her love, even if he didn't say it. Then came a moment that cut deeper than silence. One crisp autumn morning, as Martha pulled laundry from the line, her neighbor Connie handed her a bright envelope, saying, "Congratulations. This must be for you." Inside was a wedding invitation, elegant with gold borders, announcing Jacob's marriage in Chicago, just 2 weeks away. Martha's heart sank. He hadn't called, hadn't told her, hadn't even hinted. For 3 days, she kept quiet, folding the invitation beside a photo of Jacob on her nightstand, wrestling with disbelief and grief. Was she not meant to know? Or had he simply forgotten her? On the 4th day, She decided she'd go. She packed her best navy dress, booked a 12-hour bus ticket with 2 transfers, and headed to Chicago. The chapel was stunning, modern, with white roses and floor-to-ceiling windows. Guests in tailored suits and pastel dresses filled the space, their smiles polished. Martha found her name on a place card. Seated in the last row by the door, she sat quietly, hands folded, unnoticed. When Jacob walked down the aisle, he never glanced her way. Not once. Tears welled, but she blinked them back, refusing to make a scene. At the reception, she stood by the wall, watching Jacob dance with his bride, laugh with her family, toast with champagne. She raised a hand once, hoping for a glance, but he never looked. No one invited her for photos or to stand with the couple. It was as if she wasn't there. She left before dessert, retreating to a motel near the bus station. Alone, she whispered into the dark, "I don't think he saw me." Studies show that social isolation among older adults, often due to family disconnection, increases depression risk by 30%, a pain Martha knew too well. Her story stirs worry for those fading from loved ones' lives, empathy for her unseen love, and hope that we can rebuild connections. It urges us to reach out, cherish our families, and support community programs that keep no one invisible. Part 4, The Betrayal. After the wedding, the silence between them grew heavier, like a fog that wouldn't lift. Jacob stopped calling altogether, and weeks stretched into months. Martha's care packages, filled with cookies and small bills, went unacknowledged. Her voicemails and birthday cards vanished into a void. When answered, she told herself he was busy, settling into married life. But deep down, she knew she'd been pushed out of his world. Then came the most painful blow, not from Jacob, but from her neighbor, Connie. One afternoon, Connie asked casually, "Jacob's a father now, isn't he? I heard his wife had a baby girl." Martha's breath caught, her heart pounding. A granddaughter, her first grandchild, and no one had told her. Not a call, not a text, not even a photo. Her hands trembled as she dialed Jacob's number. After 4 rings, his wife answered, her voice flat. "Oh, it's you." Martha steadied herself and said, "I just heard about the baby. I didn't know." The reply was sharp. "We've been busy. Jacob has a lot going on. We didn't have time to update everyone." Martha's voice softened. "I would have helped. Maybe just been there." A cold silence followed. Then her daughter-in-law's tone hardened. "If you really want to help, come take care of the baby. We're both working. We need someone during the week." Martha hesitated. "I'm not sure I can. My back isn't what it used to be. Lifting is hard." The response was like a slap. "If you're too old to help, maybe you shouldn't expect anything from us. You want Jacob to take care of you, then be useful." Those words burned, deeper than any silence. Martha stood in her kitchen, clutching the phone, her knuckles white. She hung up without another word and didn't move for a long time. The late afternoon light spilled through the window, casting golden stripes across the floor. While birds chirped outside, unaware of the shift inside her. Studies show that family estrangement affects over 25% of older adults, often leading to emotional distress and financial insecurity. Martha had given everything: her money, her time, her heart, only to be seen as a burden, useful only when convenient. This betrayal sparks worry for those cast aside by loved ones, empathy for Martha's shattered trust, and a glimmer of hope as she begins to see her worth beyond others' demands. Her story calls us to mend broken bonds, value our elders, and advocate for support systems that ensure no one feels discarded. Part 5, The Turning Point, where Martha chooses to reclaim her life. After that painful call with her daughter-in-law, Martha fell silent, not out of despair, but from a quiet resolve taking root. She didn't cry, didn't pace, didn't shout. She simply stopped waiting for Jacob's call, stopped planning care packages, stopped checking the mailbox for letters that never came. Instead, she began to look around her farmhouse, not at what filled it, but at what was missing. Tom was gone. Jacob was gone. And with them, the laughter, the warmth, the shared dinners, the joy of a life together. The house felt heavy, its creaking floors and ticking clock louder than any words. Mornings, she'd wake early from habit, but linger in bed. With no reason to rise, she'd pass the pantry, stocked with jars, canned for a son who never returned. Or sweep the porch reflexively, though no one walked its steps. Then, one morning, a shift came, subtle but profound. As she bent to feed her hens, an ache in her hip sparked a question, if not now, when? She stood, gazing at the faded barn, and whispered to the morning air, "What am I still waiting for?" No answer came, but she knew nothing. No one. That afternoon, she opened a fresh notepad and began listing what she owned, what she could sell, what she needed. She called a realtor, made a bank appointment, and searched online for small apartments in nearby towns with sidewalks, stores, and libraries, places alive with people. This wasn't about running away or revenge. It was about self-respect, a word she hadn't dared name in decades. She'd always believed being a mother meant endless sacrifice, giving without expecting return. But now, she saw herself as more than a mother, a woman, a whole person deserving peace. So, she sold the farmhouse, sorted through memories, keeping Tom's photo wrapped carefully, donating clothes, furniture, and china saved for holidays that never happened. With her belongings in a borrowed pickup, she left, not bitter, but free. Studies show that reclaiming personal agency in later life can reduce stress and boost mental health by up to 40%. A path Martha was carving, her story stirs worry for those trapped by others' expectations, empathy for her years of giving, and hope as she embraces her worth. It inspires us to honor our own needs, support elders in finding purpose, and advocate for communities that uplift everyone. Part 6, The Rebirth, where Martha builds a new life, filled with peace and purpose. Martha's new home was a modest one-bedroom apartment in a simple brick building just outside the city. The walls were thin, the kitchen barely fit 2 people, but it had sunlight, warmth, and a quiet that didn't ache. Her neighbors, mostly retired folks, were kind, nodding in hallways and holding doors open. Small gestures that made her feel seen. She found work at a local church, cleaning early mornings before the congregation arrived. It wasn't fancy, just enough to cover groceries, utilities, and the occasional coffee at the diner across the street, but it gave her something precious: purpose. Each day, she'd wake before dawn, tee back her hair, slip on comfortable shoes, and walk 2 blocks to the church. A small radio in her pocket playing oldies, she hummed along to. She'd mop floors, dust paus, and sometimes light candles when no one was watching. Before leaving, she'd sit in the back pew, not always to pray, but to breathe, to feel the stillness settle in her bones. For the first time in years, that was enough. Her days found a gentle rhythm: groceries on Tuesdays, laundry on Thursdays, letters to herself on Sunday afternoons. She stopped sending packages or money to Jacob. And though the silence felt strange at first, it soon felt like strength. She planted herbs in pots by her window, hung a wind chime outside her door, and treated herself to flowers from the corner store every Friday. Sometimes, seeing a mother with her child would tug at her heart, a reminder that love doesn't fade, but she no longer let it define her. She had given all she could, and now it was her turn to live. One evening, sipping chamomile tea and gazing at streetlights through her thin curtains, Martha felt a warmth she hadn't known in years. "I'm still here," she whispered, "and that's enough." Studies show that engaging in meaningful routines and community connections can boost well-being in older adults by up to 35%. A truth Martha lived every day. Her story stirs worry for those facing loneliness, empathy for her long journey, and hope as she finds joy in simple moments. It inspires us to embrace our own worth, support elders in finding community, and advocate for systems that ensure everyone can thrive in their later years. Martha's story is a quiet one, but it echoes in the hearts of so many. Like countless women who've poured their lives into raising children, caring for spouses, and holding families together, she found herself overlooked, left to navigate a world that promised rest but delivered struggle. Research shows that nearly 1 in 4 women over 65 in the U.S. face financial insecurity, often with no support, a reality that can feel like a betrayal after a lifetime of giving. Her journey stirs worry for those left behind, empathy for the sacrifices that go unseen, and a powerful hope in her choice to reclaim her worth. Martha reminds us that even without a pension, savings, or family to lean on, you are not invisible, not broken, not a burden. You are a person with stories, wisdom, and strength, deserving of peace. So, if you're listening, maybe alone with a cup of tea, feeling forgotten, I hear this: it's never too late to choose yourself. Reach out, find your community, and let your voice be heard. Together, we can build a world where no one is left behind, where every Martha finds her place, her purpose, and her peace. You are not alone, and you never were. If Martha's story touched your heart, please hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that inspire change. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for watching, for caring, and for being part of this journey to uplift and empower. Your support means the world, and together, we can make a difference.